Yes, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Football fans, Tottenham fans, Arsenal fans, it's North London Derby week. And I decided we needed some eye candy for the show. We needed someone with expert football knowledge, beautiful looks, mature, everybody's friend. I couldn't find that person. So instead, I found Kuva. How are you, Kuva? Are you well?
Big up, mate. Saves me doing the same joke. Yeah, I mean, it's North London Derby, isn't it? How can I not be really happy and excited?
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I don't know. It feels like this one's got a lot of pressure on it, but we will get into it. We will get into it. For everybody that's out there, this is a pre-record. So if you're watching this, I might be in the chat responding, but please note when people always go, "Oh my God, how are you typing?" and your hands are. I'm not. I've pre-recorded this early morning with Kuva. So Kuva, I want to talk today about the North London Derby. I want to have a look at the Bentancur situation. Looks like he's been a bit of a naughty boy, and I want to then look at the fan base, and not in a bad way, but in terms of what I keep hearing and keep seeing a lot lately is very much about underlying stats as to why Tottenham are a good team and as to why Tottenham fans should be excited versus, I don't know about you, and I don't know if I'm just getting old and miserable and grumpy, but versus results, which are the actual things that keep managers in jobs. So we're going to get to that.
And those.
And these, yeah, absolutely, and these. So we will get to that. I want to start with Rodrigo Bentancur. Do you know what I find funny is I thought a few years ago, and especially in the Pochettino era, I thought we had a really, really strong midfield. Right, we had the likes of Wanyama, the likes of Moussa Dembele, Ericsson and Dele Alli would float in there as well, and even at the time, like an Eric Dyer, when he pushed into defensive midfield, did a job. And it just feels like since then, we've never quite had that same level of midfielder, Kuva.
Yeah.
Bentancur came in, and there's many theories that Bentancur's this great footballer that is unlucky because of injuries and suspensions and blah, blah, blah. Or there's the theory that, well, he was just better than the likes of Winks and Sissoko, which is what we'd had for a few years. But between him and Basuma, it feels like we can't seem to get any fluidity going. We can't seem to get any consistency. And now they both seem to be having a lot more off-field issues than actually being talked about in the middle of the park on the pitch. What do you make of this whole Bentancur situation, and how does it affect our midfield? How good is he? Is he a troublemaker? What's gone on?
Right. Is he a troublemaker? I would say possibly not. He's just, for me, it always strikes me as somebody that's very passionate about the game. You see that when he comes off the pitch and he's attacking the chair. He's so fuming mad with his own performance and what's happening. With the whole, racism scandal coming up, that's as it should do. I mean, football is trying to, kick it out of sport, isn't it? Kick it out of football. Yeah. So they've got to make a stance on it when that sort of thing happens. Is Bentancur a complete racist? No, I don't think he is. No, I think he's just brought up in that environment in a country we are not familiar with, but South America in general, they have a different attitude to these things. It's a lot more lax.
Yeah.
So everybody is the product of their environment. So if he's brought up with that background, it's not the same as we are trained to behave over here. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, well, it's wrong to us, but it's not.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So there's context, and there's at the end of the day, the most important bit for me is our captain Sonny said, "Not a problem. He's apologised. That's it. We're getting on. We're great mates."
Yeah,
that makes it the most important part, because then you see the intention behind it. Is it a real nasty jab at Sonny? Of course, it's not. If you look at the actual way he said it as well, you can kind of see what he's trying to get at, but it's just something you can't say here, isn't it? And we know that.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I mean, it's caused, look, as with anything, it causes divide, right? When something like this happens, you have people that think very far to this side and then people that think very far to that side, and then you've got those people that live in the middle that are a little bit more, well, you know. I put out a post yesterday and said, look, you know what? I didn't even give my steer on it. I just put out a post and said, look, what do you make of it, fans, football fans? What do you make of this? Some people came back and were, like you said, something's got to be done. Racism, can't have it. Then other people came back and they were very much like, oh my God, 2024, everyone takes offense to everything. Just let him play. But look, the upshot of it is, Kuva, is that the FA have stepped in. Whether or not we think that's right, whether or not it should have been a Tottenham Hotspur issue to deal with rather than an FA, they have stepped in. They have charged him. They have given him until, I believe it's the 19th. I might be wrong on that. Somebody in the chat will let me know. I believe he's got until the 19th to contest this charge, and they're talking about 6 to 12 games. My first question to you, Kuva, is that a fit punishment for the crime if it's 6 or 12? And how, moving it then slowly into more football terms, how does that affect Tottenham Hotspur?
First of all, if you're really going to be serious about stamping the racism out of football, you have got to hand out sufficiently worthwhile punishments. Sure, 6 to 12 games is that. Mm-hmm. So if they decide on that, say it's a 6-game punishment, he misses, a month and a half or something of football, that's a significant chunk of football out. So I'm okay with that. At the end of the day, Bentancur is being paid an insane amount of money each week to be an ambassador for the club as well as a footballer on the pitch. So he should know better. He did know better. He apologised for it. He realised he had messed up. But damage done, as far as I'm concerned. Take the punishment. Don't complain about it. Get your head down. Get on with your game. That's all he's got to do. How does it affect us as a club? I don't think he's been playing that well anyway. I think he's been struggling ever since he's come back from injury.
I'm glad you said it, because that was going to be my go-to answer, Kuva. And I thought, if I offer that, my comments will go crazy.
God, yeah.
But
Lynch
you're
SAVVA. You're so negative.
Yeah. SAVVA hates Bentancur would be the headline, wouldn't it?
Look, you know my stance from last season. I went ultra positive and everything, but there comes a point where you can't ignore what you're actually watching.
Yeah.
He is not the same as he was before that injury. Before that injury, I was lauding him constantly. I said, this looked like a player easily capable of going playing for Manchester City without being out of place. Sure, he's not Rodri, but who is? But that's it. Oh no, of course, there's that other player we're linked with it where we've got options to buy now, isn't there?
Oh, Cardoso, the old American Rodri. Yeah.
I had no idea who that is. I really didn't.
I've seen videos. He is the next Rodri, and you're like, based on what? He's played for Betis about 19 times. Anyway,
he's got a bit of promise. I don't mind being linked with players if they show some promise they could develop in the game. That's fine. But anyway, it's over the top, isn't it? So Bentancur hasn't really been performing for us. He's been struggling, like hell to get his form back. So it's a longer term problem than just being banned. But then on the other hand, that ban is going to delay him getting back into match fitness, match sharpness, isn't it? So it's a double whammy then.
This is the thing for me. I mean, first and foremost, when you look at it, I agree. I think that Bentancur was showing a lot of promise before that massive injury. For me, I don't think he's ever found consistency in a Spurs shirt through many different reasons, different managers, injuries. Now this, it just feels like the 3 years he's been here has come and gone very quickly, Kuva. Do you know what I mean? We're no longer talking about, oh my God, this is the guy that came in and made an immediate impact with Kulu at the end of that season with Conte. This is the 3rd year. I think in January it will be 3 years. And if he gets a 12-game ban, we might not see him until January, because my understanding is that he'll be banned for, I might be wrong, for Premier League games, not European games. I don't know. I won't go too deep into that, but
it would just surely have to be Premier League because FA's got no jurisdiction over Europe, has it? So
that was my thinking. So
yeah.
we might not see this guy, depending on the outcome, until that time. And then if you actually look at it and you'll say talented footballer, but again, in 3 years, have we seen a lot from him? And it will be nearly over a year injured, then 6 to 12 games suspended. We're starting to get to the point for me where is the juice worth the squeeze anymore? I'm not saying he's not a good footballer, Kuva. I'm just talking about Tottenham Hotspur being able to be a club that actually gets some consistency going, get a team capable of challenging, use that as you will. Basuma, I'm going to drop Basuma into this as well. He's another one. Yeah. He's been here 3 years. He can't get consistency going. He's got problems off the field as well before he joined us, since he's joined us. I'm just starting to wonder whether those two are ever actually going to be the answer in the Spurs midfield.
I'd say there's more evidence that Basuma isn't because he has had opportunities. He's not had long injury layoffs. Just had that one that suspension, and that really seemed to kill him for some reason.
Yeah.
But I don't see a hell of a lot there convinces me that he's going to ever be that player. Of course, the off-field activities didn't help, but then again, some players do respond to getting punished and being found out, and they'll come back strong for it and try and prove people wrong. Hopefully, that's the case with him, but we'll see. Nobody knows for sure. Yeah. With Bentancur, on the other hand, I think that's a quality player, and it was really a bit of a tragedy that he got such a bad injury because he was really starting to come through at that point. And if that had carried on, we might be talking an entirely different outlook on everything with the club because he could have been the driving force in midfield. So he's unfortunate, but again, at the end of the day, you've got to be practical, haven't you? If they're not performing for whatever reason, then you possibly do have to look at other options, or you just play them through thick and thin, no matter what.
Yeah,
and hope for them to get their form back. I would argue that's the same as I've said about Sonny in the past when he's come under heavy criticism. He's got that quality in him. I wouldn't want to drop him for somebody that I doubt has that quality. If it's go.
I was just going to say, look, what it does do is if he is suspended and you've got all the problems with Basuma as well, what it does do is we did sign a couple of young central midfielders in the summer, didn't we? And if right, and this is the thing, whether or not we think the transfer window was good or there should have been more done, we can draw a line under that, Kuva, because this is what we got. This is where we are. Me bitching and moaning about wanting a top number 6 to come in doesn't really mean anything now that the window's shut. Could this be an opportunity where we go, okay, well, all right, Bentancur is out for 12 games. Right, Bergvall, this is your moment. Yes, you're 19, 18 years of age, but you're here for a reason. Age shouldn't matter. Go and show the world why we signed you. Go and show why people have been raving about you.
I agree. We spent big money on Archie Gray as well, so why not put them in? This is the point in having a squad, even with young players in it, is when you do get injury or suspensions, the others have their chance. Why be scared of it? If we signed them when we're too scared to play them, then why did we sign them? If we were too scared to play them, they should have gone straight out on loan again, or Archie Gray loaned straight back to Leeds, something like that for a season. I don't think anybody would have complained then, really, would they? Getting somebody for the future and straight out on loan. The thing is, we didn't get that quality top player to go alongside them coming in at the same time, where they could have learnt off that player. Who is really in our midfield that's going to do that for them?
Agreed. Well, this is what I was going to say to you, Kuva. This is what I was going to say to you. If we put Bentancur and Basuma over here, and I'm not saying they're the same player, but they've both constantly had issues for one reason or another. Behind that, you've got the two new kids. And then the one in the middle is Sarr, who, for me, I don't see the fuss. If I'm going to be brutally honest, I think he's got a great engine. I think he's brilliant. If you're going to if we're those fans that care about Opta stats in ground covered, yeah, miles traveled, sure. But I feel like something's not working in that midfield. Two kids, Saar, who there's a big question mark for me, and then the seniors, the only two seniors are Bentancur and Basuma, who seem to be having a lot of off-field issues. Something in that midfield five just doesn't quite scream to me that we're going to get it right anytime soon. Am I being harsh, or did you share that sentiment?
Not for me. Well, I've always said this about our fan base. I'm sure other fan bases are like this as well. But
Sure.
as soon as a player puts on a Tottenham shirt, apparently they've become 2 levels above what they ever were before. And for me, Saar is a young kid who's still learning the game, and he runs around a lot.
Yeah.
I don't see what else he really does.
Yeah.
Occasionally he'll put
he's
in
okay,
a good
right?
tackle. Yeah.
He's okay.
Yeah, he's okay, but there's not driving force for the team. He's not somebody who should be going, wow, this is the next Vieira, which some of our fans do say. Leagues apart, absolutely leagues apart. So yeah, there's worries about what's going to happen this season. Personally, I do think by the end of the season that Bergvall could well be a starter in the team and looking the part. I think he has got everything there.
Yeah. When you watch him, though, you can see in his feet, right? I'm not putting pressure on him. I think it's going to take time, but you can see in his feet, yes, he's young and he needs time to learn and to grow and decision-making. But sometimes when a footballer receives the ball, you just know they're a footballer, right? You just see straight away, you can play. It's a scout's dream. He'll stand out. First of all, blonde hair, midfield, he stands out. So for me, I agree with you.
SAVVA, don't you remember? Everything's like statistics driven now. We don't need eyes and ears.
I know. And we'll get into that in a minute. We're going to get into that in a minute, Kuva. We will. Are you okay for time? So
yeah. As long as you like.
Cool. But by the way, guys and girls, I know this is a premiered video, but please do smash the like button. Don't forget to like just because it's a premiere. They're equally as important to like. And please do subscribe if you haven't already. And it's like I'm doing a promotion for my own show, mid-show. And I'll be back on Sunday for a live watch-along of...
Should we pretend we're talking to the comments section as well now? Even though there's none while we're doing this.
Look at John, who said, SAVVA, you're a...
same people.
Yeah. Look, Kuva, I think the interesting thing here is let's move the conversation into that then. And we'll talk about the North London derby last. A lot of videos fly around YouTube, Facebook, I don't know, Reddit, I don't know, all these different places. I'm too old to keep up. And I promised we wouldn't moan about technology, so we won't. But I've seen a lot of videos that are flying around, Kuva, and a lot of the conversation about our fan base really seems to have switched. And what I mean by that, Kuva, is this. If it's a manager that people don't like, right, and I'm going to just say, for example, A. Sherwood, a Nuno, right? Just these people. AVB wasn't liked for some reason, right? These managers, what they get is, but look at the results. The results aren't good. This guy can't win games. We can't defend. Now that Spurs are not getting the results in any way, shape or form on a consistent basis with Ange, that's not the rhetoric that anybody's going with these days, Kuva. The rhetoric seems to be underlying stats. Our pressing is the best in the league. Brilliant. Spurs have had the second most shots in the league. Great. Spurs' possession is one of the best in the league. Great. But Kuva, I don't know about you, right? But you're of an age. I'm of an age where I remember that all that used to matter was the result at the end of the game and form. Why have we come away from this now? And why is it that no matter how many games this guy loses or how many games he draws or absolutely no runs he's putting together as a Spurs manager, why is it still this shining light that's gone above and beyond results? What is going on?
It's that desperation part, isn't it, for me? There's if your club's not doing well and you do love your club, you look at little things to hang on to, some sort of crumbs of encouragement, and that for me has become what stats are all about. Because you can justify a lot of people saying that they've had a good game. Look, Brennan Johnson's got these assists and goal involvements. The stats do not tell you about all the things he's failed to do, all the things that he didn't even try, but he should have.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's stats driven everything. It's because we're on social media, we're all talking about it, and we're all driven by these Sky Sports and things, page after page of statistics coming up. You look at their website and things, and look at game statistics, and you got all the possession percentages and shots created and everything. And everybody's guilty of doing it. I'm pretty sure everybody has a look at it, but it's taken over now. For me, it's started with the Americans doing it, didn't it? In sports where it really is good to look at the statistics, say American football, for example, the amount of yards you're gaining is very relevant in that game. The amount of yards you gain playing football doesn't matter if you don't score, does it?
No, right. Same with possession to a degree, right? I mean, we talk a lot about, oh my God, I believe I saw a stat the other day, talking about stats, that I think we've only got second in possession to Man City. And people are going, oh my God, look, we're like City. It's like, whoa. No. No. Man City have 65, 70% of the ball. Man City do stuff with it, right? Man City sweep teams aside. And look, I'm not saying, Kuva, I need to caveat this. I'm not saying that the pressing isn't good, for example. I'm not saying that having loads of shots isn't good. But there seems to be this narrative that don't worry about the results because all these things are good. Kuva, as I said to you the other day when I popped on to with Jose, with El Tel, that's all well and good. But at some stage, we have to stop talking the talk and the walk needs to be there. And I don't mean, oh, we've beat Arsenal and ball is amazing. I mean, consistently putting a run of form together, which is something we've not done for 10 months. Whichever way we look at it, people have a go at me for this, Kuva. Why don't you include the first 10 games of last season? Well, it was nearly a year ago now. Since then, we've not put a run of form together that for me suggests what we're doing works consistently. Does that make sense?
Plus, of course, form always fluctuates. So what is the point of looking at the beginning of the season when you got all that data to look at after the beginning?
Yeah.
And that which is more relevant. There's the old phrase, you're only as good as your last game. Right. So that's said for a reason. I think it's all bollocks, mate. You just look at what you're watching. You can see with your own eyes. You don't need Sky Sports to tell you the statistics on possession. You can see we're winning the ball back high up the pitch.
Yeah.
You can see the pressing's quite impressive. It really is.
Yeah, of course.
And I could also see we're not conceding the same amount of chances we were. We're still conceding some big ones, but that is the strategy of this style of play. But as you say, at the end of the day, either you've got the results to show that it's working, or you've got to at least see the consistent improvements all the time. And it's got to get better and better through the season, especially since this is the second season now. It could be a case of now we play well, but maybe the results we're a bit unlucky with. But if we're just going through doing exactly the same as before and the results don't improve, then what is there? There's nothing. If you're standing still, you're failing.
Look, listen. I'm all for it, right? And listen, I've seen a video today, and I'm not mentioning names, but literally the sentence started with, "Forget about the results. Let's look at the underlying stats." And you know when you sit and you think, but this isn't how managers are sacked or not sacked upon, right? If I lose 8 of 10 games, I can't rock up to my chairman and go, yeah, but look at these underlying stats. The chairman's going to go, yeah, but we've lost 8 out of 10 games. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like we're getting away from that.
Yeah. Forget about the results, but look at the underlying stats, but ignore the main stat, which is the scoreline.
Right. Kuva, in my line of work in sales, right? In my line of work, I can't turn around at the end of the year and go, oh, did you hit your target? Let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to make up this number. Did you hit your target of £1 million in sales? Yeah, by the way, it's not. Did you hit your target of £1 million in sales? No, I made 250K. Why? Well, hold on, Mr. CEO, Mrs. CEO. The underlying stats showed that I should have. I should have made £1 million, but
Your
this happened.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. It doesn't work in any walk of life. For some reason, though, if you point this out, it is your negative. Patience. And again, this video I watched, patience. Spurs fans need patience. I get it, but this manager isn't new anymore. This manager's now managed Tottenham Hotspur for over a season, had 3 transfer windows. The results surely have to incrementally get better. Even if it's gradually, we have to see that over the next 10 league games that we're winning 6 or 7, drawing 1 or 2 and losing 1 or 2.
Literally
right?
trend, isn't it? Yeah.
We need to see that. And at the moment, every time we lose a game, I feel as though our PR machine is in full flow. We lose a game, you get fans like me, and I'll chuck Stell into that mix as well. He won't mind me saying this. Fans like me and Stell, we'll look at it and go, "Oh, look, we've lost again. Like, we've lost again. We've conceded the same goal again." Other fans go, "Oh, don't worry about losing. God, we had 20 shots on goal." Right? Oh, and if we had finished our dinner, yeah, but we didn't. And if we sort out those individual areas at the back, but we're not. Like, I don't know. And it just feels to me that this manager, and I want it to work, Kuva, I do want it to work with this manager. I promise you, with any manager, I want it to work. But my eyes aren't lying to me. And you know how I know that? Because the results aren't lying to me. So my question is this. When does the penny have to drop that the results have to turn? Or are we just going to do this for another season? Are we just going to do this all season, win, lose, draw, and keep saying it's fine because we press well?
For me, we'll have this conversation again nearer Christmas. And if we're still seeing the same comical defending, and I'm not even talking about the high line here, I'm talking about basics of defending. If you're in the box, you look to see where the attacker is and you go and mark them. I learned that at school. I mean, and we're not doing it. So you have to question that Jesus Christ, been here a year and that's not sorted out. That should be drilled in immediately. Made this point on the other show. You talk about Sam Allardyce or Tony Pulis take over a struggling team in the Premiership. Very first thing they do, you can expect within the next game or the one after that defense suddenly looks like it's marshaled. It's well drilled. And we have not got that. Even with the high line, and it's taken huge risks, of course. But like I said, if the basics aren't there, defenders in the box failing to pick up an unmarked attacker, Jamie Vardy, all the space in the world he ever needed against Leicester, that's ridiculous. So we won the Newcastle goals, 2 attackers in the box, 5 defenders, both attackers were free. That's not a high line, that's not a tactic, that's just bad defending.
I agree. He's got to get a defensive coach, hasn't he? I mean, I get it. People keep saying this is the style of play. This is a byproduct of the style of play. Sure, but Kuva, we've seen teams play attacking, pressing football. This isn't new, by the way.
Pochettino. You had Alderweireld and Jan, Super Jan there. Dembele sat in front of them. And we were having our best defensive periods for almost ever.
And still attacked. And still pressed, still attacked, still scored loads of goals. So this notion that's coming out now that to play good football, whatever people want that to be, to play good football, to play attacking football, to play pressing football means you have to be wide open at the back. I'm not buying it, mate. For me, I think, I did a video the other day and I got crucified for it. And all I said was, Kuva, I think that Ange needs to go back to basics. Now, I just mean in terms of making a team difficult to beat. And unfortunately, all the pressing in the world, all the possession. And I gave you a stat earlier where Tottenham had the 2nd most shots in the league. If I was to say to you, one team in the league has had 53 shots so far. Now, bearing in mind, this is all subjective, right? As to what is a good shot, what is not, what should have been. One team's had 53. 3 teams have had 48, and then the next team is on 46. Who do you think's had 53 shots? So that's more than Spurs.
Am I going to go for a surprise choice like it's not Man City? I'm going to go for Brighton.
It's not Brighton. It's not. It is
Liverpool.
No, it's not.
Wow.
And this goes to show again that when we go, but look at the number of shots. Nottingham Forest
Wow.
under Nuno Santos have had 53 shots. Now, that's a manager everyone hated, right? No one was, oh my God, right? So they've had 53. Spurs, Liverpool, and City are on 48, and then Brighton on 46. But the whole point
At least I'm close with Brighton then.
yeah, really close with Brighton. But Brighton, another team, attack, they press, but you don't see them
to watch. Yeah.
You don't see them leaving glaring gaps at the back, right? People like Dunk want to defend. He wants to mark people. Right?
And they play a high line, and he's a slow defender.
Right.
But they
right.
cope.
So it can be done. Look, Kuva, I just find it very interesting. I want it to work. I do. When he first came in, we did shows together, and I said, look, I think this guy is a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Problem is, Kuva, when you let fresh air through the window, it doesn't stay fresh for long. You've got to keep showing it. And unfortunately for me, somewhere along the line last season, it stopped being a breath of fresh air and it started to be, we can't win games. We can't defend. And I know there's a huge army of people out there that like to hang on to this notion of, well, once we sort the attack out, the defense will sort itself out. Kuva, I don't know if these people have ever done a coaching course or ever actually watched managers talk about football. Just because you score more goals doesn't mean you concede less. Yeah,
I think the most telling thing for me was after a season, we've changed those coaching staff positions. What's happening there? That suggests you didn't have the right people in the first place. But I read somewhere that Ange never works with the same staff that he worked with at other clubs. I think we've just changed that this transfer window, haven't we? I think the lot that came from Scotland he's worked with before. If I'm correct in saying that, I think I read it somewhere.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We'll see now, won't we? At the moment, I can't see what difference it's making. Except you'd argue the pressing has been so much better that it's masked the fact that those types of mistakes are happening less often.
Agreed. But also, Kuva, and again, I don't want to be a killjoy, but I'm going to look at this after 10 games in more detail. Because from our first 3 games, we've played Everton, who are, let's be brutally honest, they are dreadful.
Who?
Right. Okay. This is not the Everton we grew up with.
Tragic seeing them like that, yeah.
And we played Leicester, who a brand new team into the Premier League. Newcastle, whatever, played badly, but picked us apart with 2 goals. They didn't have to do anything. Newcastle didn't have to get out of first gear to win the game. I will look at this after 10 games when we played Villa, when we played Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Arsenal. When we've played all of these teams, West Ham, then we'll see if that we've got the best pressing in the league. Then we'll see if, but we've only conceded X amount of chances. A team like Man City will play Leicester, right? How many chances do you think Leicester City will have when they play Man City?
3.
They won't have the football, right? So this is the thing for me. So we'll check it. Look, just quickly, we've got over time. Just quickly, last couple of minutes. North London derby. There's been talk about it all week. They've got injuries. We don't know who's going to play for us. Are Solanke and VDV going to be fit? Blah, blah, blah. Is Basuma fit? Blah, blah, blah. Is Bentancur's head going to be in the right space? What do we do? Who plays up front? Yeah. Tell me. At White Hart Lane, and I'll always call it that, Kuva, at White Hart Lane, Arsenal going for a title again, you'd have to say. Big game for them. Big game for us. If we lose, it's our worst start to a season for 10 years. If they lose, they're 5 points behind City with Man City to play next. Where do you see all this playing out? What do you think the score's going to be? And what type of a game will it be?
Right. Logically, everything suggests we are big underdogs. They are just a better, more oiled machine than we are. That's all there is to it. The biggest advantage they have over us is they do know how to defend, which means if that we do put them under pressure, which we will at some point, home game in a derby. If we don't do that, then it's a catastrophic failure. There's going to be periods of the game where we should be having a go at them. I think they're resilient enough to withstand that. And with Solanke out of the team, that means I only really put any faith in Sonny being able to score. So I think we're up against it. And despite their missing players, like Rice missing for them is obviously a big thing because he helped solidify their midfield and helped turn their defence into that mean machine it was last season. The fact is, last season, Arsenal didn't lose any game by more than 2 goals. So when people start saying, oh, we're going to smash them 4-0 and things, based on what?
I don't know where it's coming from.
We've got an awful attack and we're missing some of those as well. And we're against the best defence in the league from last season. So, I think, funnily enough, having said that, both teams tend to score goals. And it is a North London derby. And the only chance we really got is to mess their game up. Get stuck into them, really annoy them, ruffle feathers, treading on Achilles tendons and elbows in the back while you can get away with it and shoving off the ball and really do all that stuff Lamella used to do. And the niggly side of the game. Under skin. Because if we take them on at pure football, I think we're going to lose it. So let's be aggressive, get a crowd behind us, bit of shithousery, if you like. And make it a war zone because we're not good enough.
I need a score from you.
Well, obviously Spurs will win 7-3.
Yes, we will. We will win 7-3. I mean, Kuva, look,
serious scoreline. I've just got a bad feeling Arsenal are going to nick it 2-1. I do think we'll score though.
Yeah, do you know what? My heart says 2-2. My head says a 2-1 Arsenal win. And again, I can't say I say this every single stream. I can't want to be wrong more. I want to rock up tomorrow for my show, and I want Spurs to batter them 4-0. I just think this is really difficult because their defense is so good. Like when you look at that Arsenal defense now, it reminds me of the days of when they, and if you'll remember this, some of the viewers watching won't, depending on their age. It reminds me of the days of Dixon, Keown, Adams, Winterburn. Not in playing style, but just in terms of all 4 defended for their lives. All 4 gave everything. They were superb with their high. They know when to play a high line or not. They cover each other brilliantly, and they want to defend. They've had the best defense in the league last year by a country mile. I don't see how we score enough without keeping enough goals out the other end to win the game. And look, I just hope we don't concede early, because if we concede early, like we did last year, before you know it, remember 1, 2, 3 down. Look, I think it's going to be interesting.
The Trafford chance, our pressing is going to be so perfect, we can't concede any of those chances. I mean, I looked at the Newcastle game, compared it to the Newcastle game from last season. We literally halved the amount of chances they created and halved the amount of big chances they created as well. So you could say that's a positive, but it still wasn't enough, was it?
No. No.
Against Arsenal, I think we're going to have to be so on it for the entire 90 minutes, and I just can't see that happening.
I agree. I can't remember the last time we were on a game for 90 minutes. My biggest concern, I've said this to you over and over again, and to anybody that watches my channel. If I'm Arsenal, I'm sitting there right now in training. I'm guessing they're at training today and yesterday and Wednesday. I'm sitting there in training if I'm Arteta, and I'm literally just putting Saka and Sterling over the top. Time after time after time. That is what I'm doing. And if I was them, I would play Saka, Sterling and Martinelli as a fake free. Let them just all roam about. And I would say, let Spurs have the ball. Because we might see, we bossed the midfield, we have possession. We might see that as a win. Arsenal won't give them monkeys if we have 70% possession and they win 3-1. They won't care. And that's
on top of it, you add that pace in. Forget the 3 of them most pacey. You've got to have Havertz in there if you're Arsenal, haven't you? So,
I was just thinking what they might do is have Havertz in that kind of Odegaard. Look, we don't know what Arsenal are going to do. I'm guessing it's going to be Partey, Jorginho, and then either Havertz or Trossard in that 10. But I think they'll be quite comfortable to let Sarr, Basuma, Bentancur, whoever it is in midfield, have the ball. I think they'll be quite comfortable with that. And I would just say to Saka, play on the halfway line and do what we did to them last year. That's what I would say. So I think we'll concede. I think we'll score. Heart 2-2, head 2-1 Arsenal. Want to be wrong.
It depends on them for me. If they play the occasion, we've got a chance. If they play the game, they'll beat us.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, look, Kuva, I really appreciate you joining me this morning. Always nice to have a chat. Really weird when there's no comments coming in, right? Really, really weird.
It's nice.
Yeah.
So big up the chat.
Yeah.
I won't be watching. Bye.
And look, listen, as like any Spurs fan, just because of my opinion of Spurs doesn't mean I don't want to win games 4-0, by the way. I would love nothing more than to rock up 2-0 up in 10 minutes and Arsenal are rattled. I just at the back, I just don't think he's got it right. I don't think he's ever got it right at the back. And I don't see it changing. Please, SAVVA be wrong. Please.
It's why the likes of you and I still get angry about what's happening at the club. Because we remember the days when we would always at least put out a performance. We would always at least be competing, battling for everything. And recent years, got to say, haven't always seen that.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, last thing I'll say is, if we beat Arsenal, it'll be the first top 10 team we've beaten since March, and only the second team we've beaten since last December. So last December we beat Newcastle 4-0. Was it 4-0, 4-1 at White Hart Lane? I can't even remember now. 4-1 maybe. And we beat Villa 4-0 away in March. So since then, we've not beaten a team like this. So this would be a marker that we could work with, right?
Yeah.
Beat Arsenal, use it as a marker, go to Coventry on Wednesday night and beat them as well. Suddenly you've got a little bit of momentum, haven't you?
Absolutely. I mean, there are some positives to be taken out from the start of this season. Against Newcastle, I think we were all doing it at one point. At one point, we were dominating that possession of the ball so much and winning it back so easily. And we were saying to each other, wow, we are all over them. And we just don't score when we do that. No. It's no good having one part that works when the other two parts, defending and attacking, don't work. Yeah. If anything, you could argue teams that do the other, like Newcastle did, gave up the midfield, and then just clinical, defended well, and then clinical when they do get a chance.
Yeah,
it's the better way round of doing things. But
you get teams that do one or the other or both. Newcastle United are a great example. They're happy to give the ball up, but defensively solid, right, in those types of games. And then they know 1-2, they've nicked the game. Spurs, we go the complete other way. We are, let's dominate the ball. Let's have loads of possession. We don't really worry about the back. Then you've got the likes of Liverpool, City and Arsenal who do both very well. And that's why those three teams are right up there every season, because they worry about defending. And the last thing I'll say, we've gone on even a few minutes past where we went on. This is the thing. What I hate having thrown at me, Kuva, is people go, oh, but you didn't like Conte's style, to be grateful. And I'm like, well, hang on. Just because I don't like teams that sit back doesn't mean I want my team to not worry about defending. Do you know what I mean? It's quite a fundamental part of football. And let's be fair, Man City don't win the league every year because they're crap at the back. Arsenal aren't in title challenges because they're crap at the back. Liverpool didn't win the league and the Champions League because they were crap at the back.
Don't worry about all that. We're trendsetters. Let's do it. Let's win the league by being crap at the back. Just attack better. That's all I ever say. 7-3. Get it on.
Score 90, concede 80 and win the title.
Oh, what a match that'll be.
Love it. Love it. Right, listen, I am going to leave it there. Guys, girls, thank you very much, Kuva. Thanks for spending some of your morning with me. Really appreciate it. Please get over and subscribe to Free Spurs Boys, who I believe are close to a milestone. Is that correct?
1,000, yeah, close to 1,000. I don't really care, to be honest, on the figures. Never have done.
But no, I know, but it does allow Bobby to start. Look, whatever. It's nice to have. It's a nice to have, all right? Like
it's
a clean
statistics,
sheet.
mate. Get away from it.
Yeah. Please subscribe to Bobby, to Bobby and Kuva. And please do subscribe to me. I'll be back. I might do a little something tomorrow, but more likely I'll be back on Sunday. Take care, everyone. And as always, come on, you Spurs. We love you, David Pleat. Daniel Levy, you should be ashamed.
And Levy out. Yeah.
Levy out. See you later.